these. Place your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips and start with the cat stretch. Tuck the chin, round up against the back of your shirt, and then keeping the arms pressing against the floor so they stay straight. Drop your belly down, lift your chest up and push your tailbone up to the ceiling. Move between the two, either end of the spine. If your shoulders and neck feel a little tight, you could try having the hands a bit wider than your shoulder width and turning the fingers out. If your lower back needs more assistance, then lean back a little bit, buttocks towards the heels to stretch that. And aim to get a continuous breath. Don't worry so much about which part of the movement it's happening on at this stage. Just a longer inhale and longer exhale. Something to about the middle of those two shapes so you're not significantly rounded or dropping the belly down. Stretch the right leg out behind you, so keep the big toe on the floor just for now, right leg straight, and then bring the left arm forward, firmly reaching forward so fingernails are reaching. Now lift the left arm up a little bit more and lift the right toes off the floor, so you're lifting the right leg, but leading with the arm. First part of this is try not to fall over, although it'll be fine if you do. We're pretty close to the floor. Tuck in, pull the arm and the knee up against your belly, and then go out for long. So the first shape that you started with, leg away, arm forward, and then up, arm going first, leg coming second. Tuck in, go as rounded as you can. That's the beginning shape that we did. Flexion and extension, adding in arm and leg. If the leg goes a little bit more quickly than the arm, it will tend to push you forward and you might feel like you need to put the hand down to balance. So if you lead with the arm upward, get a bit more lift to the chest, then you can finish by squeezing the buttocks and lifting the leg. Last 3, 2, 1. Switch to the other side. So stretch your left leg out, big toe on the floor, get the length and the reach, right arm forward. Then lift upward. Practice lifting the right arm first, chest up, leg to follow. Tuck in and round. Reach your way for length first and then height. Keep the breathing continuous. At this pace, you might comfortably get one inhale and exhale for the 2 halves of the movement. Keep thinking about length as well as height. Reach the arm and the leg long and away from you first, and then go for the height. Last 3, 2, 1. Lie down on your mat now. Check that there's some space around you so you're not going to kick anything with the leg when we get to that. Stretch 2 legs out long and in front of you. Heels together, legs as tight as they can be against each other. And take the arms over your head so fingernails go to the floor. Arms to the ceiling. Tuck your chin so you can see your toes, and then sweep the arms forward, sit up, reach the fingers for the toes. On the way down, look at the legs so you connect them together, heels together, thighs together, make them as tight as you can. Roll down, fingernails overhead. If you throw the arms with more speed, it will help you to come up. Hey, Effie. And roll down. Start doing a few pulses when you get fingers towards the toes. And now that you know what you're doing, you probably don't need to look as much. So keep the chin tucked in, which will make the neck round whilst the rest of the spine is rounding. Last two. Keep the chin tucked in, slide the fingers as far forward as you can on the pulses. Fell down, stay down. Leave your right leg where it is, long and along the floor. Press the arms out beside you. Then bend the left knee in towards you as far as you can and straighten up to the ceiling. Straight being as straight as you can make it, even if it doesn't look straight. Right leg is up. Drop it across the body so the whole buttock and leg lifts up. Circle it out to the side and back up to the top. So I called left leg, but if you had the right leg up, it's exactly the same thing. The first part of the circle is to drop the leg across your own body, and then you sweep it out and away from the body up to the ceiling. Try and draw the biggest circle you can by reaching out through the toes. And get the rocking action of the hips side to side. So you're dropping the leg far enough across that you get the lift of the buttocks off the floor. Last one up to the top, and then switch the legs. Left leg out long, pressed against the floor, bend the right leg into you, and then straighten up. Drop it across the left leg, sweep it out and up to the top. It will help you if you pick up the pace as the leg is traveling down towards the floor, then swing it out quickly to give you a little bit of assistance to come up. Point out through the toes. Last two. Very good. Bend both knees in against you and then hug the hands on the shins to help curl you up. Head and shoulders up, hands hugging the shins. Tug them even closer to you so the thighs are really pressing against the belly. Then stretch one leg out, point out through the toes and switch both hands to tugging on one bent leg. And then switch again. Use the anchor of your leg to help you curl up a little higher. So every time you grab the shin, you can tuck the chin in a bit more and curl the upper body up to meet the leg. If you need assistance for the neck because you're finding that feels strained, one hand to do the catching, one hand to be holding the head. And whether you're holding or not, keep the chin tucked in. So a feeling of triple chins. For 8. And then rest. Place your feet on the ground with the knees bent, hands pressing down beside you. Lift the hips up, so you squeeze the buttocks to lift up, and then roll your spine back down to meet the mat. Feel free to adjust your feet slightly wider or further apart from you until you feel stable. Press the heels into the floor to lift. Slow down the descent so you've got more time to try and make it a roll rather than a drop. Last one up, curl down, stay down. Hug two legs in against you, curl the head and shoulders up. For a moment, take the hands off the legs and reach them forwards. Palms are facing down, fingers forward. And then stretch the legs out in front, squeeze the heels together, bend them back to you. Just for a few to work out how low can you take the legs before it starts to feel like it's a back exercise instead of a belly exercise. If you're feeling your back, aim the legs higher. So this is the position, arms forward and legs out, that you're going to end up in. And the exercise we're going for involves a little bit of rocking backward. So tug on your shins, keep the chin well tucked in. You're always able to see your thighs or down in front of you to the belly. Next time that you start to get a bit of a rock forward, and straighten the legs out, straighten the hands, and end up in the position we practiced. Arms out, legs out, hold, and then tuck them into you, one rock, out and hold. Often, the roll becomes so big that you end up sitting up. That's a great way to learn this from. So going a bit bigger than is needed gives you the ability to pull it back. But at least you know where you're going. Tug the legs into you, aim them however high they need to be to keep you feeling that this is a belly exercise, not a back one. Just that that's the stronger of the sensation is what I'm referring to. For 4. And then rest. Bent knees, feet flat on the floor. And really by rest, I mean you're doing the opposite half of it, the hip roll, curling up and curling down. Another 4. Press the heels hard into the mat, press the arms down beside you. And then come down, stretch out the legs, give them a little bit of a shake, and then come up. You're going to go to high kneeling now, please, which is defined by buttocks not sitting on the heels, the knees under your hips. Stretch the left leg out so it goes out to the side of you and straight. And then bring your hands behind your head. So firm lacing behind the head, push the elbows wide, and squeeze your buttocks to push the hips forward. Head pressing back into the hands. Take a dip over to the right side, and then press the head back into the hands to come back up. So if you happen to not put the left leg out, where we're going to is your bent leg side. We'll do both so it doesn't matter. You're dipping away from your straight leg. Press the head into the hands in both directions, but particularly as you're lifting yourself up. If you're unsure about how far over you should be going or could be going in this, go over and take one hand off and put it on the ground. So you understand that that's where you would go to if you felt like you'd gone a bit too far and you couldn't come back up. And then use that information to dip a little bit deeper into the exercise. Because you can't fall out of it. You're not going to hurt yourself. You can always just put the hand down if you're unsure. Head pressing back into the hands. Keep the elbows wide. So you're preferencing a feeling of pushing the head back with the hands rather than closing the elbows around the head. Last 4. Very good. Roll that off to the other side. Left leg bent, right leg off to the side. Hands laced behind the head firmly. And then push the elbows wide, push the head back with the hands. Dip over to the left. Exhale to come back up. Here, it will help if you can be deliberate about the breath. So exhaling on the way up to help you come up. Keep the head pressing back into the hands. You can test out how far you can go by putting the hand down. And then knowing that you can go as far as the hand hold, dip a little further to increase the challenge. Last 5. And swing the arms off. Very well done. We're going to lay down on the right hand side and you get a choice of how high you're going to prop yourself up. Try the elbow tip first with the hand supporting the head. If that's really uncomfortable because it feels like it's pinching or crushing something, then you can go a little bit lower down onto the base of the arm. And if your neck is really uncomfortable, lay down on the arm as long as you don't fall asleep on me. So go for the highest height first and see how you feel. Can you get a hand on the top hip and then initially sag your body towards the floor. So make it look really casual, like we're not about to exercise. Shoulder be crunched up under your ear, body sag to the floor. Then do the opposite of that. Create a lot of space under the side of the body. Press hard down through the elbow or the arm, whatever it is you're resting on. And now stretch the top leg out and make it straight. Flex the foot, so that's pulling the toenails towards you. Pull the leg forward in space and press it back in space. Make it more deliberate than swinging the leg. For now, you're aiming to keep the torso still and move the leg only. Sweep it forward, push it back, and keep pressing down through the arm that you're leaning on and the leg that's in contact with the floor. Aim to get just a little bit more height up for the leg. The forward and back will be going well, but by now it's probably starting to drop down towards the floor. Creating the opposite feeling of you being sagged against the floor means consistent pressure down through the elbow and the leg that's resting on the floor. 2, 1, and take a very brief rest by bending the knee. If you need to rest your neck, you can lay down for a moment on the arm and then prop yourself back up into this higher position. Leg out and a little bit forward, so it's a little bit forward of the line of your torso. Lift it up and take it down to tap the floor. Up and down in one spot rather than forward and back. Aim to lift the leg as high as you can, but get ready for the heaviness of it. As the leg comes up, it would normally want to dump your body against the floor. So press harder through the elbow or the arm. Stiffen up the belly by drawing it in a little, so you're ready to take the weight of the leg. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're not already a bit close to the floor, lay down so that your torso is more along the floor, and then the leg we've just been working, bend it and bring it in front of the floor leg, so it's tucked in front of you, and then grab a hold of the knee, or just below the knee on the shin, and try and squeeze the leg in towards you. If that doesn't give you much of a stretch around there, that's okay, we can get it in another position. But if you are getting a bit of release, then just hold it tight against you for a few breaths. And repeat that on the other side. Swivel over, pick your height, whether it's resting on the elbow or the arm. Bottom leg will stay bent. Straighten out the top leg, flex so the toes are pulled to you, and then pull the leg forward and push it back. Once you've done a couple of reps of the leg forward and back, the brain can take care of that. Just keep moving it and focus on keeping everything else still. You need to pull your belly in a little bit, press really hard down against the floor, and perhaps slow down your movement. If you're feeling like you're being rocked about all over the place, try going slower, pull the belly in, and then you could try increasing the pace again if you wanted to. You could have the supporting hand in front of you or behind you as a guide of whether you're moving the torso about in space. On the hip is not necessarily where it has to be. Let's find it comfortable to rest it there. Try and get a little bit more range, so slightly further forward, a little bit further back, press hard against the floor. Last 2, 1, and take a little rest. If you need to rest the neck, then get closer to the floor for a moment and then come back up. Stretch the leg out, so slightly in front of the body, and then up and tap it down. You are going for a big lift, yes, but a lift that's balanced by you pressing against the floor. So if you're finding that when you're lifting, you're getting pushed against the floor, go slightly smaller with the lift initially until you get to anticipate it and how much you need to press to adjust for that weight. Press against the floor, you're nearly there. Pull the belly up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go closer to the floor. Bring the foot in front of the floor leg and then a firm grip. Tug it in towards you and squeeze it against your own belly and chest. Think about bringing the knee up in the direction of the top of your mat. Okay. Bring yourself up to seated now. Take the legs a little bit wider than your hip width. So even if you are quite flexible in the hips, you don't go as wide as you possibly can. And if you feel like you're sitting really hunched and it's difficult to sit up tall, you'll need a bit of height under the hips, so that would be useful. So you grab a cushion or roll up your mat several times and sit on that. Stiffen up the legs by pulling the toes to you and pressing the feet down and trying to connect the back of the knees to the floor. Arms wide, palms facing down. Turn as far as you can towards one foot and then reach down to that foot and try and saw it off at about the ankle. Come back up. Turn as far as you can to the other leg, reach down towards it and saw it off. So the sawing action is a few pulses. If you're not getting to your foot, you can still be doing the pulses in the air. You've got a direction to go towards, but keep reaching for that direction even if you don't actually connect foot and hand. So keep going with this and just increase the pace and the effort. Big inhale when you're sitting tall. Exhale, swing and dive down towards the foot. Stiff arms, swing and dive down. We talked about what the front hand is doing, that's sawing off the foot or the ankle. The back hand, the one that kind of gets left behind you, flip that palm up to the ceiling and push it upward. So then you have both arms working, one reaching forward, the one behind you flipped upward and reaching. One more on either side, so you can dive a bit more now that you've done quite a few reps. Very good. Right. So back to your 4-point kneeling shape, please. This is where you began the class. This time, take the hands a little bit wider than your shoulder width and walk the knees back to a half plank shape. So that means they're a little bit further back than the hips, but you're still pulling your belly up. So still a little bit of rounding like the cat stretch at the beginning. Bend the elbows out wide and take your nose down to meet the floor. Press back up. I prefer to get your nose to the floor and you leave your buttocks behind you. Then the opposite, which is letting the hips lead so you end up sagging towards the floor. A wide grip with the hands, pull them out apart between the hands, take your nose down and press back up. Keep your belly drawn in tight as you're going down to the floor. Another 3, 2, 1, and then all the way down to lay on the mat. Take the legs wherever is comfortable, often slightly wider than the hips with the legs behind you will feel comfortable. And then reach the hands behind and try and clasp your fingers together. If they don't quite get together, just try and get them as close as they can. Push the hands away from you to make the arms as straight as you can. At this stage, not trying to lift the chest, but push the fists away from you, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then when you've done as much of that as you can, lift the chest a little bit of a rise, but still pushing the fist backward. Lower the chest down, and you can bend the elbows to release the tension, bring the hands up your back. Push the arms to straight, or as straight as they're going to go. Push the knuckles back and down from you so that it shifts your shoulders down from your ears and aim to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Then the last bit is the lift for the chest. Lower down, bend at the elbows, bring the hands up your back. Repeat that. It's knuckles first, push the arms to straight, shoulders down, and then the lift. If the lifting is causing you to only think about your lower back, then do less of the lift. Focus more on pressing the arms to straight, trying to pull the shoulders down and to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Another 3, 2, and 1. Put the hands down on the floor in front of you, round about your shoulder level, so that you can push against them to fold yourself back over your heels. Get your buttocks as close to your heels as they'll go, and then test out, if you hang your head down, does it either meet the floor or does it at least feel comfortable hanging down? If it doesn't, and you're still aware of some tension in your neck, create a pillow for the head so you can put 2 hands stacked on top of each other or your forearms, so that there's something for your head to rest on that allows you to then tuck the chin quite deeply. Rest the heaviness of the forehead round about the hairline on your support, whether that's the floor or the hands. And then take bigger breaths. the type that would spread out the back of your shirt and also press your belly down in between your legs. You can spend as long as you'd like there, but otherwise, bring yourself up and let me know if you've got any questions.
That was good. Thanks, Frankie.
Pleasure.
Very enjoyable.
Thanks, Effie. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. See you, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, my friend. I'll see you tonight.
Okay, bye. Thanks, Lucy.